Greetings and welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. In this week's Multicultural Astronomy, we continue our look at Indian astronomy, talking about the astronomer Varahamihira and his contributions to astronomy of his era. So let's go ahead and get started. In the 6th century, the city of Ujjain stood as one of the most important intellectual centers in India. Scholars gathered there to study mathematics, astronomy, and the movements of the heavens. Among them was the astronomer Varahamihira. Where earlier scholars like Aryabhatta introduced bold new mathematical ideas, Varahamihira took on a different challenge. He worked to gather, compare, and organize the astronomical knowledge of his time. His work reminds us that science does not only grow through new discoveries. Sometimes progress comes from bringing many traditions together in a clearer understanding of the cosmos. Varahamihira lived during the Gupta period, a time often described as a golden age of scholarship in India. Mathematics, literature, and astronomy flourished in major intellectual centers across the subcontinent. One of the most important of these centers was Ujjain. Because of its geographical position and scholarly community, Ujjain became a major hub for astronomical calculation and observation. Astronomers working there studied planetary motion, eclipses, and calendar systems. They were also part of a wider network of intellectual exchange. Ideas from earlier Indian traditions and from Greek astronomy circulated through texts and cultural contact. Within this environment, Varahamihira set out to organize the astronomical knowledge available at this time. One of Varahamihira's most important works is called the Panchasiddhantika. The title means the 5 astronomical systems. In this remarkable text, Varahamihira summarized and compared 5 earlier traditions of astronomical calculation. These systems drew on earlier Indian astronomical traditions as well as ideas influenced by Greek astronomy that had entered India through cultural exchange. Rather than presenting a single theory, Varahamihira preserved and analyzed multiple traditions. This was extremely important. Some of the original works he summarized have not survived. Without the Panchasiddhantika, much of this early astronomical knowledge would have been lost. Through careful comparison, Varahamihira helped create a clearer picture of how astronomers calculated planetary motion and celestial cycles. Varahamihira was not only a compiler of earlier traditions, he also contributed to the ongoing development of Indian astronomy. Astronomers of this period refined methods for calculating planetary positions, eclipse timing, and astronomical cycles used in calendar systems. These calculations allowed astronomers to predict celestial events with increasing accuracy. Varahamihira's work helped standardize and transmit these methods, making them accessible to later generations of scholars. In this way, his work served as a bridge between earlier traditions and the astronomers who would follow. The influence of Varahamihira extended well beyond his own lifetime. Later astronomers, such as Brahmagupta, would continue developing the mathematical techniques used to model celestial motions. Because Varahamihira preserved and organized earlier astronomical systems, these later scholars inherited a rich body of knowledge from which to build. His work shows how scientific traditions advance not only through discovery, but also through preservation, comparison, and synthesis. The history of astronomy is not just a story of isolated breakthroughs. It is also a story of scholars who gathered knowledge from many traditions and carefully wove them together. Through this work of synthesis, Varahamihira helped ensure that centuries of astronomical understanding would continue guiding future observers of the sky. So that concludes this week's Multicultural Astronomy episode on Varahamihira. We'll be back again next week to talk about another astronomer of India. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.